Hello friends, welcome to a new video of Let's Watercolor with Vanidas. In this series of videos, I will take you through my way of doing watercolors. My objective is that jointly we make the watercolor painting a fun-filled and very dynamic activity. Hope we will enjoy. In today's lesson, we will be doing a monochromatic simple landscape. We will have some trees, maybe a couple of people walking around, and some play of light we will try to make. Okay, we will make very rough sketch, maybe somewhere here. We will make some kind of play of light around this area. I am planning some light, right? And the rest of the place I will be planning some distant foliages, etc. This is very rough thumbnail kind of a thing, I mean not very detailed. These are all, I am indicating some darker tones. These will be covered by trees. Here I am doing a kind of path, okay, which is taking towards the light portion, and here some kind of a tunnel sort of thing. Okay, now here we will have some distant trees. I'm just planning the theme. Maybe here also we will have some distant trees, right? And here in this area I wanted to make a bigger tree kind of a thing. So maybe we will make a big tree kind of a thing that will have the foliages falling here. Right, we will make this tree little bigger and sharper, and we will have maybe some foliages here. This will be in lighter tone. Don't worry about the drawing. Here we are not drawing it accurately. I'm just kind of developing this plot, right? This will be lighter tones, and this I am planning to be little darker tone. Full of trees and foliages. Some shadow here, maybe some distant shadows here and there, and to create some interest we will have some character. some bigger characters here. Maybe someone here. I think this is roughly the plot. We'll make it in monochrome, little bit bluish. So most of the things will be done with the washes, and then the foreground will be given with a little bit more details, and some of the midground will give some details, but the rest everything will be very vague and it will be just done with washes, right? So I think we are done. We will go for the painting now. We will not draw this much into our watercolor paper because we cannot draw this much details. I'll just indicate this horizon line sort of thing, and maybe the path, and maybe the place where we are going to make this tree, right? I'm making a lighter drawing with a different pencil. So this is the horizon, and somewhere here, somewhere around this area, we will make the tree, the main tree, right? The main tree will be somewhere here. This is the main tree, and somewhere here we have the path. Here we have the other trees. This is just kind of a balancing, right? Some foliages. In the usual course, I wouldn't draw all these things. I will just directly paint. But for you to get an idea, we will do it. Now, as we were mentioning, so we will have some characters. I might shift the characters when depending upon how exactly it comes out. I might shift the characters. I might even shift some of the branches, trees, etc. This is just an initial plan, because we are doing most of the things using very vague wash. So depending upon how the washes come, we might decide to make some shifters. We may shift the elements a little bit here and there. So, but basically the concept and the theme will be this. We'll go for the painting process. Now we will be making it in monochromatic way. So the base color is blue, right? Since we need different tonal variations within blue, we might use different shades of blue, and we might occasionally touch some other colors as well if required, right? So the colors primarily I will be using is cobalt blue, a little bit of cerulean blue, violet. So I will be washing this quickly. It is just applying plain water. Okay. I'm using a bigger mop brush just to get the things done quickly. If you don't have mop brush, you can use some other larger brushes. Even flat brush is fine. Leaving this area little less wet, slightly taking out the water, because I don't want the color to come too much into this area. This area I want it to be little lighter in color. So mostly I will leave it very whitish. So I am leaving the paper white there. Very pale. I have used a touch of violet just for a color variation. That's it. These are a kind of white I am leaving, which might give an impression of very subtle clouds. Now the thing is, we need to create distant foliages, so which will be in a wash of blue. Making slightly thicker wash of blue. Again, I am using a touch of violet. This seems to be too sharp blue. I am using a tint of violet, just as you can see, slightly making it little these are some distant foliages. Okay, so again here also we will make some distant foliages. Where it comes the main tree, I will give some darker patch. It is just indicating the main tree. It is a little thicker now. I am not using too much of water. We will refine it later. Okay. When the trees comes here, this would indicate some distant branches, right? When it dries and it kind of merges, it will indicate some distant branches. This area I am making it white, but we cannot make it this much white abruptly, so I am using a plain brush and kind of washing the edges, so that little bit of the color might peep in. So here we are trying to make a kind of tunnel. Basically these are the ground. Since we are using only blue color, we are doing it in blue, right? Trying to fill the paper, and I was mentioning I am just smudging it here. What we are doing here is we are kind of creating some source of light and some source of tunnel feeling of it. This will later become the path, and here it will all be covered with trees and foliages. Foreground I am making a little bit of dark. That is to get some depth. Okay. Here the tree shadow will come, so I am already indicating some amount of a darker tone here. I think we are done with the initial wash. We will have to wait until it gets dry. This is fully dry now. Now we can do the next layer of painting here. So what I am planning to do is I will be making some distant trees here first, then some closer trees. Then I will also make the foliages for our main tree. So I am making very little pale of blue, right? These are distant trees, so I am just placing them first. Depending upon how far you are keeping it, you will have to make them pale, and the tone you have to be careful. I'm not really worried about the details now. These are all just indicative. Lot of distant trees. For the distant tree, I am just making some foliages with some pale wash. I am indicating some foliages, that's it. You don't have to be very precise. Just some indication of some tonal variation. Some places I am just tapping also. What I am doing is just loading it fully and just tapping on the handle so that it will fall off. I am doing this just to break the tones basically. I mean, if you don't have this, it is very blunt without any interest. So this is just to create some interest. And at some places I am also sprinkling some plain water. Okay. Somewhere I am diffusing them. Okay, I think this gives a kind of indication of some distant trees. So now, since this area is little wet with all the sprinkling and other things, I will try to define this tree. So by the time this is done, probably this will be a little bit dry. Since this is a bigger foliage, I will be using a bigger brush to define the major volume. Since this tree is closer, I am using some thicker thicker paint. Basically it is a lot of cobalt blue and a touch of violet to get a bit more interesting. You see the thickness, it is very thick. Okay. This is just indicating some volume, right? So we will refine it later. My idea is not to make it too precise. I'm kind of filling the area. While filling the area, I'm also leaving some gap because the tree foliages will have a lot of gaps also. So I'm kind of trying to place the trunk. So I think I will place the trunk somewhere here. It's a kind of drawing with the brush. Okay. We will have a lot of refinement for this. Trying to make the branches the stem, the trunk a little bit more interesting, not very, little bit of some dynamics so that it is not very straight line sort of a thing. The edges the foliages I am little bit defining in detail, not too much though, so that it will look like some leaves, the edge of the leaves. You don't have to be very precise here. If you go for making it very precise, then I think you may not succeed, or it might take quite a long time. So, but that much of effort may not be required. That is what is my feeling. Don't put everything in the single angle. We'll define it later. The further details we will define it later. Sprinkling little bit of water so that it will create some kind of interest. Making some closer tree here. Okay. I'm just again not very precise. A precise thing we can add it later once you are into the detailing phase. This is likely to flow down, so I'm just making a horizontal mark so that it doesn't fall down. See, it is something like the trees are hooking to the ground, otherwise it was all hanging. Now we'll have to create some interest on the ground. So you cannot have the trees or trees just hanging in the air. So you'll have to it should hook to the ground basically. So it is just some strokes so that it indicates it's a flat ground. A little bit careful when it comes here. It is some kind of indication that there is something behind this. You could have done this before painting the tree also. When it comes to the center, I am kind of merging everything, so that in the center portion I want little the illusion of some light, and that will actually create some depth also. This got a little bit of spreading, so I'm just using a tissue paper and just clearing it, that area now. This area I want little darker, because this, first of all, that is the foreground, and secondly it is supposed to have a lot of shadows. With a bigger brush, I'm creating a little bit of shadows. In this area we'll have to do something, but we'll do later. I'm making some darker touches at some places so that it has some kind of a form. See, these are the shadow falling areas of the tree. tree branches are little cylindrical in shape, so it cannot be very flat. So I am just trying to indicate some of the shadow area. This with a very darker tone. Okay. So once this is dry, we will get some more definition to this. This is just for some variation. This looks too much of sharp to me. And just with a clean brush, I am kind of softening it. Right. This also I am trying to add some kind of interest. Not very precise. You have to experiment with watercolors. You have to keep developing it by stage by stage. Keep experimenting it. Nothing. You have nothing to really lose. What you might lose is a piece of watercolor paper and a little bit of paint. But what you learn when you make a mistake, or when you attempt something and if it doesn't work, what you get in return is a huge learning. So never be afraid to experiment. Some kind of I'm trying to accentuate something. That means just we are hooking it to the ground a little bit more. What we did here is we have changed the tones to create some interest, and we have made the attachment to the ground a little bit firm. And you should always be aware of the amount of wetness that the paper has and the tone. Then when the paper is ready to accept your tone, it is ready with the right amount of wetness, which you gain by experience. You will have to keep trying and you will learn it. So once you feel that okay, this is the right time to make a stalk, you make it. Okay, it doesn't have to be that you make this tree complete then switch to the other. That can happen parallel. When you are doing this area, you might see that this area is little damp and this is the right time to make a stroke. Do that, then again come back to here. Now I am making some interest here also. See, the ground in the forest will have a lot of things, lot of patterns. If it is a thick bunch of trees, you will have a lot of patterns, lot of maybe dry leaves or some shadows or whatever, which may be creating lot of interesting stuffs. So you just create an illusion of that kind of pattern using these things. Using different techniques. This is one way of sprinkling it. See, you will get a little bit more directional splatters. If you do it like this. So basically it is no longer felt as anything that is blank, and then just you accentuate it. This all you should do by trying out and then experimenting. We'll make some foliages here. Again, as I was telling, not very precise. some bunch of leaves, that's it. We are making the bunch of leaves here. Later we will connect them with the branches. If you really look at each individual stalk you are making, you may not be convinced that you are making the right thing, but once everything is done, I mean once everything is completed, you will find that okay, things are making sense. So I think that's enough. Now what I will do is I will use a liner brush which has a long hair and a very fine tip. Okay, I will use little thicker paint, and maybe I'll try to make some interest here. So basically additional branches. Basically these are some kind of interest, and that's it. This, wherever you have gap between the foliages, you can create all these small twigs or branches. So that will make it to look a little bit more organic in nature. How much, to what extent you do all these things is something that you should be aware of. What happens usually is that once you start doing making these kind of steps, then you keep tending to do it quite extensively, and you spoil the work. So be aware of that. And try to connect. I'm just trying to connect. These are some interesting lines that I am trying to make, so that some kind of see, what we are trying to make is some kind of a contrast here, so that your focus will come here, this area, because this area it is the most light and this is the most dark area, and here we are going to put some characters and all, so most of the focus will come to this area. So all these strokes are adding to that objective. I think I am done with these things, because if you keep doing it, there is no end to that. Now we'll take little lighter tone and make some similar step for these trees also. So these foliages we made, let us connect those things. Yeah, here we made some foliages, let those be connected. So this now indicates a lot of crowd, a lot of stuffs happening there. I want some maybe lighter tone here basically. Now it's fully dry. We can give the details now. So before leaving it for dry, I have noticed that few seconds of video I have lost because of some camera issue. So what we have lost is these simple strokes. I have made a couple of strokes here just to create some interest. Now what is left out is we have to make some couple of characters, right? Everything is in blue, so we don't have to worry about the colors. So what we are looking for is some kind of a character, maybe here. Right. These characters are just to create some kind of action or kind of story. Otherwise, it is not indicating any specific person, right? This is a lady character, so maybe we'll have one more maybe. They are holding hand, so they are probably walking towards this. Okay, I am making a character here, so we had to be little careful about the perspective. So he or she, whichever character we are making here, will be little bigger in size because they are nearer. I don't know, maybe I don't know what exactly he's doing. See, this guy is a little far away than this guys, so but these tones are almost same, so I want to make them little dull. So what I'm doing is I'm just lifting out the color. Okay, just press it and take out. Okay, you have to be careful, don't overdo it. See, now they are looking little lighter. Now some distant characters. Happy with this character, I am just taking it out. Once it is wet, you can do these kind of corrections, but once it is too dry, you cannot. Now these characters are just probably, hanging on the ground, hanging in the air basically, so we cannot do that. So depending upon where the shadow is, you'll have to make some kind of a shadow. These guys are already on the shadow, so we will not get a very specific shadows, but we will make some kind of strokes here to give some additional interest. Just some texture on the tree. We are done. Okay. This, I want to make this particular horizontal line little bit more obvious. So what I am going to do is I am just going to make some structure here, so that there is a kind of just want to define something here. That's it. We are completed now. So this is our final picture. Just before giving the final touches, I lost around 1 minute of video. So in that lost 1 minute, what I have done is I have given little bit of highlight on the character's shoulder and the head top, basically to indicate that when the light is falling somewhere from this side, this area is getting little bit of highlight. So I have given some highlight with the white color, right? So some couple of highlights I have given, maybe on this character, and on this character. And apart from that, I made some blue color direction lines, right? The direction lines I have given just to indicate that this is the path, and these direction lines will help to create the depth. It will take your eyes towards these characters. Then I did the signature and one kind of an white touch here. How we do that is simple. Just I have directly took the white color and I just touched it and the tip of the brush, and then I just added on the shoulder and on the head and the shoulder. So this is how we made the finishing touches for the character. With that we have completed our work. So there is always an argument that we should not use white color in watercolors because white is a kind of very opaque color, so we should not use white. But I leave it to the user, I mean the artist. I mean, if you think some kind of white touching can improve the artwork, then I prefer to do it. If you prefer not to do any highlight, then you will have to carefully leave the white space while painting. So this is a simple imaginary scene using a monochrome shade. So the monochrome shade will always help you to, I mean, have a better understanding of the tonal values and then a closer observation of the subject. If it is from imagination, you can keep thinking of the tonal values and you can emphasize on the tonal values. So I think this is a good exercise for monochrome watercolor painting. That's it for today. Hope you were with me throughout this video. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, please do mention them in the comment section below. If you like my video, please click on the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. I will strive to produce more videos with your support and motivation by addressing all your comments and suggestions, and I will also try to respond to your questions, suggestions as frequently as possible. Hope we'll meet you in the next video and we'll continue with the fun of painting watercolors. Thank you very much.